the least you're trying to control, the better the outcome in general, because you're able to relax, you're able to be in your body and not in your prefrontal cortex, and you're able to surrender to the process, whatever the process becomes.
Speaking of birth plans, so my birth plan was in my bag. I'm like,
did you ever take it out?
No, there was no time.
For me, it's a lot of energy work of just, what's the energy in this room? What do these people need? What does this baby need from me right now?
Like, what are some of the other fears that come up often, you would say? So when we did our prep together, you asked a lot of questions about like my fears. And
you remember that?
Yeah. And one of them was, the biggest one for me, and I think it had to do with my ego, was like losing control and panicking. And sort of becoming a little out of my mind, and that getting into that fear where you can't pull yourself back, like losing control. And I remember you saying, and it wasn't really in like loss of control of like a situation. I think it was loss of control of myself.
Of yourself, yeah.
But that's still something I struggle with too. Like, I do like to be in control of my environment.
I mean, I think we all do. Yeah. Type A more.
Type A. I'm the one. I'm a nurse. You know, like I like things.
I know. I was getting into. I actually tend to support a lot of Type A people. For some reason, they're really attracted to me. I don't know what's going on there.
We need you as a balance.
I don't know if I'm a Type A person. I don't consider myself as a Type A,
so
but
funny.
Not a Type B either. But
yeah, one of the things that like you told me, the first thing you were like, "Oh, that concerns me."
Straight up. I don't have filters.
No bullshit with this girl. So I'm concerned. Like, we've met twice. I'm like, okay, I like you. Tell me why you're concerned. So you had said to me that one of the like most important things in birth is letting go of control and allowing yourself to lose control a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I felt that in my birth. And the importance of sort of not holding on to a certain idea, of letting go, of really going in there, going into the pain, crossing over in that moment that we just talked about, and like letting go of like your need to control everything, like you don't have control. Like, can you talk a bit about that?
It's, birth is about surrendering. Like, if there's one word that I would have to use is surrender. But then how do we surrender when we tend to be able to control our environment to a T, literally, especially in jobs like yours, or most people, like I have clients who are lawyers or doctors and whatnot, and they're very Type A people who control. And the thing in birth is that it's kind of the opposite. The least you're trying to control, the better the outcome in general, because you're able to relax, you're able to be in your body and not in your prefrontal cortex, and you're able to surrender to the process, whatever the process becomes. And I might sound a little bit, I don't know, weird when I tell people, okay, so what are your fears? Oh, control, you have to let go of control. Like, I say it because I think it's important that I put it out there, that surrendering is important. But then I try to bring people there. And one of the ways that I think I try to do it is through that trust, the communication through the whole prenatal phase, knowing where you're at, expressing your feelings, feeling confident enough, because you won't be able to surrender if you don't feel safe with the people in the room with you. Yes. And that's your partner usually, or whoever is there. And you need to be able to feel super safe with your doula. And I hope that when I come in, you are able, even if you were clinging, there's this moment of almost, I don't know, you can tell me if you remember, but usually what I see is this, she's there, relief.
Yes.
And then literally shoulders dropping, and there's this almost allowing yourself to let go, because now you know that someone's in the room holding you and has your back no matter what. But the fears need to be communicated beforehand. And this clinging of control, I don't need people to tell me, like, I see it, I know it, but it's good that they can articulate it, because then you realize, okay, I'm a person that wants to control, and I'm going to make all this birth plan. And I'm like, great, let's do the birth plan. And then how can we like put it aside?
Speaking of birth plan, so my birth plan was in my bag. And like,
did you ever take it out?
No, there was no time. 2 hours after I gave birth, the nurse came in for like some reason. And I was like, would you like to see my birth plan? As a joke. It was so funny. Like, We didn't even bring our bags in. Like, I just had my purse with my birth plan in it.
No, I literally walked in and your water broke. Not on me. It was on the nurse.
The nurse. Yeah.
Because my previous purchase before you, it broke on me. So I was like, okay, no amniotic fluid this time on me. Cool.
Not this time. But yeah, I definitely felt that. And I think, like, I luckily just have a husband who's like very, very calm and chill in general.
Super grounded.
So
also very hands-on and very present.
Yes, yeah, and very handsome. So like that helps.
Also. That helps, right? That really helped your birth process, I'm sure. Well, it helped for her being so cute, for sure.
Just, looking at him really helped me. No, but he's generally like chill. And he was very, very chill during the whole, he wasn't panicked at all.
No.
But I can imagine that you showing up in the room could also be a big, big, big relief for like the birth partner.
In general, yeah.
Which I think he was like, it's funny too. He said, afterwards, I think he told you this, where when we were going through the process of like, hiring a doula and whatever and chatting at first, he saw the benefit of it, but for me, like it wasn't not for him necessarily.
And he was like, I'm going to do it for her. I'll do whatever she wants. And I love that, honestly.
Like if this is something she wants, then great. And he didn't necessarily see how it like would help him really until the birth. Until the birth.
And again, it was a quick birth. So it could have been like, oh, I didn't even need you.
Yeah.
But it ended up, I think, being beneficial for him as well.
Yeah. And I think he can't even like really articulate it fully also, like what it was. I think it's just like your presence. But also it was nice that he could, because he was like going back from the front to the back, like he wanted to see everything.
Of course.
And because he knew you were there, let's say with me at my head, then he could kind of have fun and like go and like experience
the birth of his child.
Yeah. So I think there's that too, and just knowing that you were there to like, reassure us, calm us, and I think so. All of the prep really helped him, like help me, and you did a lot of that, showing him how to do back pressure and all that. So, anyways, does that happen often, where like people don't necessarily like understand the full benefit of a doula until the moment, until go time?
I think so, especially more for partners. I mean, people come in and often it's like, well, my wife wanted a doula, so I'll just go with it, which is fine. Yeah. And then they feel empowered through the process, knowing pain management techniques, and then also knowing what birth can look like, because that's another thing, like the sounds, the smells, how can it be in the room, so it can reassure them. Yeah. And usually I'm there a little bit longer than at your birth. So it's that whole reassurance. Like it's just, gazing at each other, eye communication of being like, this is normal, this is fine. And then I get, okay, good, kind of keeping them regulated. I have this practice when I kind of go before stepping into the actual birth room. I didn't have time with you because I was running, but in general, I take a moment to like ground myself. I'll take a deep breath and I'll be, okay, this is not about me. Like this is their birth. How can I show up and like read the room basically? Yeah. Like for me, it's a lot of energy work of just what's the energy in this room? What do these people need? What does this baby need from me right now? And the more grounded and kind of supporting whatever is happening with presence, the better it flows, right?
Yeah.
And that's different for everyone. I think
is that how you keep ground? Like, how do you keep calm during the chaos? Because like you were very, just like the louder I spoke, the calmer you spoke.
Yeah,
like
I tend to.
Yeah. So how do you do that? And like, okay, so in my case, it was, straightforward. Everyone was fine. Yeah. It was happening fast, but there must be cases where, it's longer, or maybe mom's not doing good or baby's not doing good. Like, how do you kind of stay calm in those moments?
I don't know. I guess I'm just used to work under pressure. I used to work in hospitality management in hotels with dealing with emergencies and situations that I was never fully prepared for. So it's kind of learning to pivot. And I just took those tools and kind of transfer them in my new career, but it comes from a place of being able to be really empathetic and feeling energy as it shifts, and being able, I don't have other tools than breathing and really just feeling my feet on the ground and being like, okay, you're fine, you're alive, you're here to literally help and support no matter what. There's no judgment, and I don't have a specific practice. Like I don't really meditate. I do a lot of yoga, but like in the birth room, it's really just breathing. And as I breathe, the other person breathes with me. You know how sometimes, I mean, maybe you don't remember, but sometimes I start breathing with people because they lose their breath and they kind of get dysregulated. Well, that's also for me too, because it helps me ground. And I always say breath is your best friend. So let's use that. I try to be as calm and grounded as possible because I know that if they feel I'm not calm, they're going to get fearful. And that's the last thing I want.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because you're the one who's like, you've seen it all. We know you've been in 1,000 births. So like, if you're chill, kind of like the flight attendant who's calm.
Yeah, exactly.
During turbulence, like, okay, she's fine. So
it must be fine.
Yeah.
And if it's not fine, because sometimes it's not,
sometimes it's not.
Yeah, I'll calmly introduce some, you know, ideas of like, hey, this might happen, but you're in a good place. You have the support of the team, and it might get a little bit more noisy or more panicky, and this is why. And already kind of giving a little bit of this is what it can look like, because people knowing that, it's going to make them feel better, you know.
What are some fears that people have leading up to birth? Like I talked about like losing control. I was also just really afraid of tearing. I know that sounds like
a lot of people are really afraid of tearing.
I was really afraid of that, and I was afraid of feeling. I could imagine just not being in labor and then that just like tearing open, and I'm like, how am I gonna? And I was so afraid of that, and it turns out like you don't give a shit. Like you don't feel it. You don't feel it. There's so much happening.
You feel the stitches probably after.
Yeah,
but
you
not
feel it after, and like, but I mean, they froze me. They gave me lidocaine to do the stitches. And again, I was so I don't like needles. I'm a nurse who doesn't like needles. I was like, they're gonna put needles in my hoo-ha like to give me lidocaine. And my God, your brain is elsewhere. Yeah, ça le piqué, like it. You feel it a bit. It burns a bit, but like, oh my God, it's nothing compared to
actual birth.
But like, what are some of the other fears that come up often, you would say?
So tearing is a big one. Losing control is probably the first one.
Oh yeah.
So it's very
I'm
common.
Not crazy.
No, you're absolutely not. Baby and being unwell or not making it. Honestly, there's a lot of people that have tremendous trauma from previous losses. So the birth itself is one thing, but then what happens after? Will this baby come out and be healthy? NICU stays are scaring people off. So we do prepare a lot for NICU as well. And like just regular practices that might seem like, oh, baby has jaundice and people are afraid of jaundice. But then knowing that jaundice is quite common and it's healable and it's nothing too serious, or some babies need a little bit of help breathing in the beginning, and that doesn't mean it's going to affect their life. And just kind of knowing that in advance, that it's more common than you think or know. Those are things that usually scare people.
That wasn't like really one of my fears, luckily.
Yeah.
And like Lucy did need maybe like 30 minutes of like some support. You know, they had to suction her and stuff like that. Her oxygen wasn't great, but maybe because like I had you there and like my husband was there, and I also, maybe being a nurse, I don't know, like I kind of knew they were going to take care of her. I wasn't particularly worried that, you know, I was like, oh, the pediatrician's on his way. The RT, the respiratory therapist is already there. Like they're working on her. They're not gonna let anything bad happen. They're not just gonna like let things slide. I mean, bad things could still happen.
Of course, but in general, it's not the case. And they really try to keep the baby with you in the room for as long as possible, unless they really need the transfer. And even in a birthing center, I mean, there's a lot of things that midwives can do to support. If there needs to be a transfer, it happens, but more often than not, there's no need for that. But those are this can be a big fear, I think, where again, it's like that loss of control. Because if you look at it under the biggest lens, it's like not having control over how your baby does.
You can't do anything about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think another fear is being separated. So going to a C-section, like in a really crash emergency kind of situation, and being separated from your husband or your partner, and being alone. So that can definitely be another one.
So yeah, we're showing up at my sister-in-law's place.
Oh my God, this is such we have like a river just behind here.
Oh yeah, you can hear the river.
Okay, I'm just gonna move here now.
Yeah, we're up north in the boonies now. We're in the boonies.
So cool.
But thanks for chatting with
Yeah,
me. I think I'm gonna try Ms. Birthing Center next week. So I mean, you're gonna be with me.
Excited for you.
I'm gonna pee on a stick and call you because there's
Please
no
do.
way that you're not there. I don't care if you have to cancel 6 other people. I don't care about these people.
I will cancel. Just pee on a stick and call me right away, okay?
Pee on a stick, call you. Okay, estimated, mid whatever. Just block off your whole month.
I'm waiting for like a call and I open the phone and it's literally just a picture of your pee stick.
You have to be there. Oh,
I'll
good timing, Lucy. She's waking
You're going
up.
to do amazing in a birthing center. You'll love it.
I feel like it's the next step.
Oh yeah, absolutely
Next
for you.
step
I mean,
up.
I'm not projecting on you, but
Yeah.
you're going to love it. You're so ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll have you
Like-
there.
I'm ready.
All right, we're taking off. See ya.